Why is it YouTube cannot leave anything alone? Why is it that they have to mess around with everything? And what I mean is this. They've now messed with Studio, which now means nothing lines up on my display. Now, I can't show you this the way I have my setup, but I usually have YouTube Studio on one half of the monitor, which is here, and OBS on the other half of the monitor. And what used to happen is I could line the windows up each side and it all looked fine. Whereas now, and I'm just going to show you this on the desktop, and let me turn on broadcast. Oh, NVIDIA broadcast seems to have flipped. What? Where am I? What? Oh, so that's gone to complete hell as well then. Okay. Reset transform. What? I'm in the middle. Hello. Desktop. What? Everything has broken itself. Why has everything broke? Look, I expect NVIDIA to break things. We all know NVIDIA break things. That is to be expected. Right, wait a minute. Virtual background. Remove. What is NVIDIA broadcast now done? I don't want auto framing. No, I don't want that. Oh, okay, so that's better. It had flipped its lid. Right, okay. We're getting closer, ladies and gentlemen. So what I wanted to show you was this. I'm going to turn this off a minute. So before, I used to have the ability to put this on half a screen. So if I wanted to put this on one side, you could put this here, right? So let me just adjust the size of this so I can show it to you properly. So if I wanted to sort of put this on half the screen, you could slide this over and it would push everything over. But they've now changed it, look, that your own view is fixed. So this no longer moves. So I can, look, I've now got this huge black bar down the side here for no reason. What is YouTube doing? They've also got rid of the view status, which used to be next to it here. And that's now down here, or Stream Health, is it? I don't know. It's analytics. They've moved it. They, honest to God, why YouTube? Why can't you leave things alone? So now, nothing fits. Unbelievable. Just, why do these companies... And now, here's what's interesting. Now, you cannot have, looking at this, my chat up with viewer activity and the analytics. I can only now select one of them. I can't have all of them. Wow. Wow. Just to show you there. So there, look. I can have analytics. I can have viewer activity. I can have stream health. But I can't have all of them together. I can probably pop out the chat. And now, when you pop out the chat, it leaves a, like before, it leaves a big blank area. So now you have all of this real estate, which you can't use. Honestly, at times, what are they even thinking about? That's the CADEX ninjas. So look, I can now have that there if I want to see people. I can have viewer activity if I want to see the chats. And I can have stream health, but I can't have all of these at the same time anymore, it seems. I'm not allowed to have it up here, because it used to be here, right next to this. So this was pushed over, and it was right there. Honest to God, what the hell? Anyway, that's my little rant. Now I can't actually see anything. What the fuck have they done to this? Honest to God. That is shocking. That is an absolute joke. An absolute joke. Anyways, hello everyone. You're lucky I made it tonight because I haven't been well for a few days. I managed to pick up human malware. I was on the borderline tonight. However, there isn't that much to talk about, but what there is to talk about is quite interesting. So we're going to talk about the many DJI clones that are appearing, which is quite interesting. We're going to briefly mention that DJI is reducing the price on the Osmo 360 already. Already reducing the price. We might touch on what's this rumours about outlawing DJI drones in the US next year. There are some FCC moves afoot that could affect DJI, which is they're looking at how they can implement bans on equipment that's already been certified. It's not even specific to DJI. It's going as far as to try and wipe out everything that's already been certified if the company's on the coveted list. So that will even affect Huawei and others as well. Because remember, when Huawei got banned, you couldn't buy new Huawei products, but your old ones were still legal. They're now trying to basically make them illegal as well. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about where is the dough for, because we have all of these clone products from DJI, yet the FPV series isn't feeling the love. The FPV series isn't getting any of this clone-on-clone action. So DJI, where is the dough for? I think we should call it the dough for, or the dough for, because why else would we call it something else? But also, we do have to be careful what we wish for, because with these clones, it always isn't quite as simple as it looks. And we're going to talk about whatever else pops into my head, because it's quite a light time in FPV, to the point it's almost hard to talk about anything. Now, this week, I have done nothing. I have been wiped out completely this week. Honestly, whatever this thing is, I don't know if it's COVID, I don't know what it was. Whatever it was, it kicked my ass this week. I can promise you that. It's only today I'm really feeling alive. I've got a cup of tea in my hand, so I am going to slurp. But it's moved into more cold territory now. Runny nose, all of that. But it was just wiping me out. If I can get a good night's sleep, that'll help. That means this week, genuinely, I have done nothing. Other than yesterday, I started to do the repairs on the Chapito. So we're going to take a look at that. My E6000 glue. Oh my gosh, the Chapito jumped off. My E6000 glue arrived. Now, I don't know if there's any of you lovely Yankee donkeys over there. Is this genuine E6000 or is this China E6000? Because it doesn't have the American flag on the bottom. And I thought the genuine stuff had the Yankee Donkey American flag. I can't sniff it because I can't smell anything. I have a feeling it's made in China. But this arrived this week. Taste it and see what it's like. Yeah, so I do have E6000 finally, and I have done the repair on the Chapito. That was done last night. For those of you who knew, I managed to take a chunk out of a wing. Smell enough for you to smell something. It didn't smell that bad. It's quite rubbery, isn't it, E6000? I thought it was going to be harder than rubbery. It will melt foam. It didn't seem to melt foam. Quite a rubbery outcome on it is what I found. Is that correct? Do I have the right stuff? Next time use UHC pour. So if I go to the overhead, let's try and get the focus working. Boom. It all feels nice and strong. I don't want to bend it too much. It doesn't harden all the way, and it has some flex to it. Hello, Jake. I'm talking about you in one of my future videos. Funny enough. All nasty things, obviously. No. I've got an Osmo 360 video where I'm referring people to your review, but I'm just giving a few months update. But yeah, so I've done the repair. Just needs to air out. But yeah, I think it's fine. You know, look, I'm not going to give it takes 48 hours. Yeah, pretty good. So look, we're all fixed. We're back up and running. Pretty good. I think we will be fine. I've been, and I'm going to do a video on this, actually. I've then reprinted the new top cover, ready for the CADEX gimbal. My God, that is wiped out, isn't it? Will it focus? Let me move my head out of the way. I don't even think it'll focus on that. No. I have printed the new CADEX cover, the cover for the CADEX gimbal. I hollowed it out this time underneath. And let me just drop the exposure down so you guys can actually see what I've done here. There you go. So I sort of carved out the bottom of the replacement now. It's a bit dirty because it's been scratching around here. But I managed to, yeah, pretty good. Not bad at all. Yeah, I'm not going to give it a bend test. I'm not going to bend test it again. But yeah, I managed to get some weight out of it. Can anyone remember what the weight of the other one was last week? I can't remember. Let me just get... What's this, all this white powder on these scales? That's fine. 28 grams now. Which I think is pretty good. 32. So we've got a bit of weight out of it. I just now need to figure out a latch for the back end. I'm probably going to do like a slight redesign where I have like a turning latch which flicks a lever out. Just to hold it in is what I was thinking, but it's now ready for the CADEX gimbal, so that's on the project list in the next week or so. Now that I've now that it's fixed and back up and running. So yeah, it's tape will be your friend for alpha testing. Yes, for sure. Tape will be probably the early test. So yeah, that's ready for the CADEX gimbal. GM3 is going to go on the top. The only thing I'm a little worried about And we'll get on to the subjects of the live stream in a minute. The only thing I'm a little worried about is how it's going to react in takeoff. Is anyone flying a CM3, GM3, whatever we want to call it, on a plane? How does it react to takeoff? Does anyone know? Because I haven't tried it. I haven't tried it. Yeah, there is 50% me that wonders, do I want to bring them back further and mount it further down for the balance of the weight? I'm just not sure how the gimbal's going to react. Interesting territory. So we're getting there. But yeah, literally, it's been one of those weeks where I've really done very, very little. Dome fearing over it. Yeah, I'm more worried it's going to flip out. But no. Right. The first subject is DJI, because obviously there's a lot going on with DJI and we're getting closer to this December deadline. And just to be clear, there is some stuff you're hearing in the news right now, which I'm also going to discuss in a minute, which isn't directly related to DJI, but it is. But at the moment, it's being aimed at telecom and communications equipment. But this is communications equipment, so you're into dodgy territory. However, obviously, the situation in the US is looming with DJI, 24th of December. There is a vote going to happen at the end of October with regards to businesses and companies who are already on the coveted list being able, well, their products being able to still be legal to use. Now, if this goes through, this has the potential to then withdraw the legal licensing for the products that have already been licensed. Does that mean your product is going to stop working? No. Does that mean your DJI drone is going to fall from the sky? Does that mean DJI are going to send a firmware update to block you using your product? Never going to happen. I know people are going to ask this. I get comments like this all the time. Oh, will DJI block me? DJI will never stop you regardless of what the US government do. Right? Don't worry about what DJI are going to do. But this could, from a legal perspective, make things difficult. More than anything, it would actually affect commercial use because your insurance would be invalid at that point. Look, a guy with a Mini 4, a Mini 3, a Mavic, other than law enforcement spotting you flying and maybe having a word, I don't think it's going to become too much of a problem. But what it would mean is anyone who owns a DJI drone for commercial use is going to put you in a difficult position. DJI could do the same if pressured. Why would DJI be pressured? DJI won't give a fuck right now. If they're going to be banned, why are they going to do anything the US government wants? The only thing they're going to do that the US government is roll up that middle finger. Is all they're going to do. They're going to tell them where to go. There is zero benefit to DJI doing anything to the consumer that would suit political pressure. If they're banned, there is no political pressure. You can't give any. They're already under more political pressure than they have ever been under in their life. Basically, they're going to tell them to get fucked. Why? Look at the logic here. DJI is basically already banned. What political pressure can there be? If you don't stop these products... Yeah, it's like the girlfriend threatening you after the breakup. I know. It's like never, ever, ever going to happen. DJI will never, ever, ever stop your drone flying in the US market. Right? I will put that out there now. They are not going to turn your product off. They are not going to do anything that makes them look like the bad guy. Yes, she takes me to child support. The US government has they can do no more damage than they've already done. Yeah, Lon's bang on. As soon as the ban actually happens, the influence is gone. Will we not have FCC hacks anymore? I doubt that'll change. That'll be fine. Unless the CCP says to them, I would... Okay, it would be... Is it technically possible? Well, if your drone went online, yes. If you never put your drone online, they can't. Anything is technically possible. What is likely, there is more chance of Trump tap dancing across the White House lawn saying how great Obama is. So, yeah. People... Anyway, there is just no... DJI are not going to... Okay, where DJI could do something is if they were told to sell products, you've got to restrict where they can fly. But they've done that before. We've had NFCs, you know. It's Obama's church. It's like DJI is never going to stop you using your product. That is for sure. So, but obviously, if this FCC ban goes through, and just to be clear, this FCC coveted thing is not specific to DJI. It would affect anything on the coveted list, but that could have some impact as well. Now, obviously, DJI are doing everything they can to get around this, and we've seen more and more clones appear over the last few months. We're now starting for the first time to see ground-based stuff. We haven't seen ground-based products before, but now we have Extra, the Extra Moves, the Extra Edge Pro, and the Extra Edge. And what you basically have here is 3 more white labeled products. The Extra Edge is DJI Action 4, which I find rather interesting because I'm shocked they bothered doing it on the 4. Bearing in mind, the 6 is due out in a few weeks. I'm shocked they did the 4. It must be selling well enough. And it's a great little camera, the Action 4. I have one. I actually really like it. But they must be selling enough to do the 4. You've then got the Extra Edge Pro, which is the 5. Okay? Basically, the 5. And then we have the Muse, which is, do you know what? Is it the Osmo Mobile? I can never remember which version of these there is. It's not the Mobile. It's Pocket. Sorry. I haven't really looked at the Pockets for a long time. I reviewed the very first one, Pocket 3. But I haven't really looked at them since. So it's not been a product that really interested me. I reviewed the original Pocket, which was quite good. It's not a bad product. So it's the Pocket 3. There we go. So what I am surprised at is they've clearly even gone as far as to changing the plastics, which is a bit further than they've gone in the past. You know, if you look at the previous copy products, they've changed the plastics and sort of mouldings a little bit, which costs a bit of money. When you look at it on the back end, where's the back of the handle? Interestingly, the website isn't particularly good. But, yeah, these ground-based products have now appeared as well, which gives you a hint something is going on. Obviously, there has still not been any FPV products. Just one thing to note, though. Pretty much everything that has been white labeled so far has not been compatible with DJI's official products. So that would mean if they did release a doubtful air unit, it might not work with the existing goggles anyway. So you'd have to have the Doe Goggles 3, as well as the Doe 4 Pro and the Doe 4 Lite. Although this does work with a few of the accessories I've read. And the goggles Doe N3. So it's not quite as simple as it's just another one. But yeah, look, DJI are doing what they got to do. I fully approve, frankly. So look, DJI makes some bloody good products. Bloody good products. And they're doing what they got to do. That's the reality. We don't know where this is going to end. The truth is, we just don't know yet. Obviously, the main deadline is towards the end of this year, so the 24th of December is... that it's not simple. It's not simple that they're not making them compatible, and I wonder why. It's a bit of a messy situation. What's nice for DJI is, though, if it all gets sorted out, all of these can just vanish overnight and it can all come back under the DJI brand. Now, further to this, I will just add something. Actually, yeah, further to this, on DJI, before we move on, they have done a bit of a surprise move. We are about to see the launch of the Osmo Action 6 already. However, more bizarrely, DJI have dropped the price on the Osmo 360. See, it says it's new. And when you go to the buy now look, DJI have dropped the price on the 360 already. Which is crazy. Annoying for people like me who bought it. But it has been reduced in price. Now, this is in the UK, the US, and other places as well. There's $65 off in the US. What we got, just over 65 quid in the UK. So they have dropped the price on it, which makes it a very interesting option. Although, I will say, whilst it is a phenomenal piece of kit, sorry DJI, if you're going to buy one of these two and you need to edit the footage on your PC, I wouldn't buy the DJI. I would get Insta360. Honestly, DJI Studio is still complete and utter garbage, to the point where I cannot recommend you buy this camera if you want to edit your footage on your computer. It is so bad, it is unusable. Still to this day, it is unusable. And it's not that it doesn't have functions, it is just not working properly. It won't play back footage, it's constantly crashing. It's a complete and utter mess, is DJI Studio on the PC. It's crazy. I cannot believe they still haven't fixed it. I updated it yesterday before making a video I got coming out this week where I'm talking about both of these cameras. And there's no question that the Osmo 360 is a great camera. The PC software is what lets it down. Mimo is okay for editing, but honestly, DJI Studio, it doesn't work. It's that bad, it doesn't work. And I cannot believe they are not getting more hate over this, because it's insane. It is, and it is particularly bad if you've offboarded footage onto a NAS. If you've onboarded your footage onto a NAS or an external disk, it's unusable. And it's nothing to do with the computer. It's nothing to do with that. I was editing footage earlier on this via USB. And it just works fine. It is so bad. Jake, are you seeing the same things? It won't play its own proxy files properly. It completely stutters and crashes. If I delete the proxies, it will start playing back the original files. But if I've got them on a network disk with a gigabit of Ethernet, it just won't play. It just will not work. It's insane. Whereas, that's fine. Absolutely fine. It's not even the lack of functionality. It's unusable. It's that bad. It's actually unusable. It's also not remotely yeah, their app studio, 360 Studio works fine. And it's not, I'm not talking about it's got lots of different features. It actually just doesn't work. And that's the crazy bit about it. I don't think it's got hardware decoding properly. You can, but you have to convert it first, Lon, which means you've still got to use DJI Studio. You can use Insta360 Studio, but you can't use it with the DJI native files. You have to export the video as 360 video and then import it into Insta360 Studio. So you still have to use DJI Studio, which is the pain point because it doesn't work. And it is shockingly bad. And that's the weird... It's really quite crazy how bad it is. The smartphone app's fine. Smartphone app. And I believe Mac users are absolutely fine as well. I believe Mac users don't have a problem. It's only affecting PC users. And it is absolutely horrific. I've show it in a video coming up. And look, DJI, please fix this. Just please fix this. This isn't, oh, you shouldn't buy DJI because of this. You shouldn't buy it because it doesn't work. I need you to fix this, please. Because I want to use the camera more. It's so bad, it's to the point where I don't want to use the camera. That's how bad it is. And it is shocking. Shocking, shocking, shocking. No alternative. No, because these cameras all record in a proprietary format. Yeah, Mac, I believe, works better. It works better on M series. I can't be bothered to drag out my MacBook Pro every time I want to edit. I have a dedicated piece. I moved away from Macs for editing a few years ago. Nothing wrong. I love Macs. It's just I moved to a PC build. I bet it works lovely on a Mac Studio. But I shouldn't have to go and get my MacBook Pro every time. I wonder if DJI releasing a 360 Pro camera. It's interesting that DJI have dropped the price. It might be related to GoPro. You know, if we look in... If we do US pricing... So US pricing is... Oh, no. Okay, let's do UK pricing. What's it in the UK versus... So go... Have you got the new GoPro, Jake, by the way? What's it like? Jake did an amazing video on the Insta versus... I still miss so many features and it freezes and messes up things on the Mac too. 449 for the GoPro. For the Max 2. 345. It's £100 cheaper. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. They definitely got the lens thing wrong, being the guy that broke his in the first week. And I do talk about my experience with DJI Key Refresh in the video as well. It was very good, amazing service, but it still should have replaceable lenses. Screw you, DJI. Get it right. That's a huge price difference. Very was selling the standard DJI 360 for $270. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's crazy money. That is crazy money. Look, I never, unless DJI thought it was going to be some huge product. Yeah, look, we're Insta360 win hands down is the software. And I really like this camera. I have to say Insta do a very good job. They both do a very good job. Both. I can give you the review on this camera now. If you want to go and see the footage differences, go and watch Jake's video where he's walking through the snow and shows it in the cave and everything. But the very basics are, for most people, you're going to be happy with either of these cameras. If you need 10-bit, you're going to have to go DJI. If you're happy to edit on your smartphone, you'll be happy with either of them. The benefit to the DJI is it has onboard storage, so when you do forget your SD card, you can still record. The benefit for the Insta360 is that you can replace the lenses. The form factors are different. If you're going to wear the camera, the DJI is a better form factor. If you're going to fly the camera or mount it onto something, Insta's actually a little bit better. The extra height keeps it off things a little bit better. Image quality is very slightly better on the DJI, but overall, they are very comparable products. The real big benefit to the DJI is the ecosystem. Works really well with the Mic 2, the Mic 3s, and it supports the same battery as the Osmo Action 4 and 5. So if you're already in the DJI ecosystem, that's the no-brainer choice. But the PC app is complete junk. There you go. That's everything you need to know. It's that, yeah. Look, but most people, the biggest problem with either of these will be most people think it's going to behave like an action camera. I actually have a video I recorded about a month ago, which I've not published, which talks about why people get so upset with an action camera, because people misunderstand that this will never look like this, let alone the action. Even in single lens mode. You know, you have a fisheye lens where you're trying to cram in all of that sensor data into the same sensor area as a standard action camera. Okay, this has bigger sensor and a larger square sensor, but the fundamentals remain. If you're going to compare it to an action camera, it's never going to look the same. And most people don't understand that. You have to take into account you're cramming in a far larger field of view into the same area. And as a result of that, you're going to lose detail. It's just natural. You know, it really is as simple as that. So, yeah, in DJI, I've got a price. That pricing is aggressive, very aggressive. I despise the 360 look. What I love about the 360 cameras is, as a creator, I can just park it up on the side. But for recording stuff, I really enjoyed having the camera. It gives me a bit of a different ability. As a creator, I like that you can just perch it down and use it for like B-roll and stuff like that. What do we know about the Neo 2? Well, yes, that is due. And we know that it is coming. We know that it is going to be Wi-Fi with an OcuSync module, which we still don't know a lot about, in the sense of, is DJI going to ship 2 versions with and without the OcuSync module? Or is it going to be a user upgradable option? We just don't know. I'm incredibly intrigued to see what this module is. The fact that they've off-boarded the OcuSync is interesting. Whether this is to try and get around this FCC thing, I don't know. You know, we're just going to have to wait and see. It may have been a plan to try and get around this FCC coveted list so they could sell a Wi-Fi only version in the US and an OcuSync version in other countries. Bit of a strange move. So, okay, so some people are asking about DJI 4. Look, Fly High has said he's got some stock coming. Things are still a bit mixed pretty everywhere. Even supply of 04 is quite low globally at the moment. My suspicion is, whilst from a drone perspective, the US is quite a small market, for FPV it's quite large. Although pretty much anything anyone makes right now is going into Ukraine, and my suspicion is the reason there's a shortage is everything that exists is going into Ukraine. There's been some videos on FPV drone building for the Ukraine war popping up on YouTube in the last couple of weeks. For those who haven't seen it, I don't want to show any of it, but lots of drones being built and using DJI, using other things. Pretty much supply is all going into Ukraine. I'm hearing some whispers of some more dedicated digital FPV hardware, because obviously the traditional frequency stuff isn't ideal. Some of the stuff that I saw in the videos, even just with the trigger mechanism, was so incredibly basic and simple and clever. I was impressed. But yeah, I think you got to take that into account, that it's all going that way. There is, though, a different problem. And that different problem is, I have heard this week from multiple sources that China is even heavily restricting the export of FPV-related and drone-related products. China is once again pushing hard against the export of any drone-related products. And it's causing some delays for manufacturers. People are struggling to get stuff out. It's affecting everyone. Special licensing has been needed for quite a long time, and the Chinese government have been pushing harder again. So you've got the US government pushing one side, China pushing the other. It's all a bit of a game. Is DJI doomed here in the US? Look, I'm not convinced there will be a solution to this now for the US anytime soon. I think things are too unpredictable. I think it's quite likely DJI will be banned. I'm just moving those cameras so they don't get damaged. Yeah, the rear ear thing is kicking off as well. It's just kicking off. So it's unpredictable. It's predictably unpredictable at the moment is probably the right term. And it ain't getting better. It ain't really going to improve anytime soon. And I just don't think there's going to be a solution. Does China supply Russia? China supplies the world. I think it's a simple answer. China supplies everything to everywhere. I think it's naive for people to go, do China supply this side or that side? China is the manufacturing hub of the world. And regardless of where that goes, or the intent, and the world's going to have to learn to adapt and change if it wants to. You know, you have to remember, people complaining about China is a bit like complaining about getting a divorce and then complaining when she takes the house. Or asking for a divorce and then complaining when she wants the house. Because China, we did this. It's like, hello. We asked them to do all of this, and now we don't like it when they're doing it without us. When it was all our companies and we controlled it all, we were happy. Now it's not all our companies and we don't control it all, we're not happy. all a game. Yeah, it's the world is in a weird place. There was an image that was shown to me some time ago, and this sums up the world better than anything. And this comes from the 80s. And unfortunately, most people are not savvy enough to have really seen sort of it saddens me how most people don't realize what's going on, you know. And look, here is the image from the 80s, which sums things up pretty well. But this is what it was like in the 80s, and this is what it's like today. Now, you can swap him for Farage, or you can swap him for whoever you want. But it's still a game of the same thing. Those who have are trying to distract everyone into blaming what those who don't have on the others who don't have. And yeah, pretty much sums up the world we're in today. You know, the great distraction is the term I like to call it. 82 should have been 84, but yes. I'll put Elon Musk's face on that. Yes, it's a funny old world. Right. So, as I've said, China is restricting the export of product as well. So, you're not going to also be able to find stuff coming out of China easily. As for anything else, from an FPV perspective, it's a weird time. There is some cheap product coming out of China right now, SpeedyBee especially. SpeedyBee are doing some interesting little quads, which is nice to see. You're starting to see a few discounts appearing on some stuff. So you got the SpeedyBee B, where is it? The SpeedyBee B25, which is this thing. And it's available as a frame, but it's also available as a drone as well. So you can get this SpeedyBee B25, which is one of their new drones. Now, most of the models are out of stock, but SpeedyBee have released this, which seems quite popular. SpeedyBee B35 as well. Some really cheap drones. SpeedyBee usually do quite well on the value front, to be fair. Although some of these quads are getting quite expensive. I will say that. Captain Bry, hello Captain Bry. It said, plus side, his quads have never flown as good as they do today. That is for sure. Betaflight release around the corner. Yes, we're getting ready for the first of the new Betaflight version 2512. Which is coming. The new versioning system. And Betaflight is so easy now. We've got CADEX releasing their new product this month. just about a week or so away. I've heard on the grapevine the P2S. Now I'm not getting one. I won't be involved in that launch. I have also closed my CADEX affiliate account. I did that this week. Just because I have always said on this channel that I work with affiliates of trusted brands. And it's my perspective that that is absolutely not a brand you can trust. So I basically ended my affiliate with them, which it doesn't mean I won't recommend specific products, but they're not a brand I can promote as you can trust. But the launch of the P2S, I think it is, Ascent P2S is coming in the next week or so. There'll be reviews on it, I guess. I won't be as part of that. What I will be doing is buying one once it releases, and I will be making my content based on my findings once I've got the product in my hand and I've been able to review it and test it and understand it for myself. So from CADEX's perspective, when, you know, you'll have all the usual release day videos from the good guys. You know, I don't know who is or isn't, but, you know, there's a bunch of good guys in FPV, so they'll give you an initial lowdown on it. And I'll do what I want to do when I want to do it at my own time scale when it comes out. Mine will be a more in-depth look at it, at the drone, the system especially. That's what I will be looking for more than anything. Someone said there's no free speech. There's plenty of free speech. You're just not going to be a dick about it. But yeah, so the drone should be out soon. It'd be interesting to see how this goes. Very interesting to see how this goes. Someone asked about the DJI 360 drone. Don't know. Just don't know. Don't know anything about it at all. There we go. Is iNav my only option for GPS navigation on AM32? No, you can. Autopilot works on AM32. What does it? Are you talking about AT32 or AM32 ESC? Oh, you could say there's more free speech in the UK than there is in the US. That's what I will say. Yeah, if it's AT32, I don't know. Does Autopilot support AT32? What do you think of the new AP FPV? Haven't seen it. Haven't had a chance. Haven't had a chance to play with that. Of course, someone mentioned antennas as well. TrueC have released a couple of new antennas. I haven't bought the new DJI mics. I'm happy with the mic 2. I didn't like the mic 3. I've heard there's a mic 3 Pro coming, which they'll probably add on what they took off. I don't like the mic 3s because they don't have a lav port. I like the mic 2s, so I'll be sticking with the mic 2. Let me just... I had 3 times 17 hexagon antennas and 1 Omni on the goggle too. I'm about to open the G3 to put them on. Any suggestion of which of these? The 2 top antennas, your 2 front top antennas are your main transmitting antennas on the goggles 3. That's where you're going to see the most benefit. Everything else is just receiving. Any news on the Insta360 drone? No, it's all been quiet. There hasn't been a lot now said on that. They got a big battle, an uphill battle. Insta have a lot of work to do on that. You know, it was a lot of noise and then nothing. Yeah, it's gonna take a lot of... It's going to take a lot of work to deliver a product. That's for sure. I'm not sure I'm going to have enough money to have a look at all of this stuff that's due to come out. If they all launch, right? If DJI launch a 360 drone, if DJI Insta release theirs, a Neo 2, and this CADEX thing, yeah, I might be selecting what I'm looking at. I'm not sure I'll be buying all of them because that's probably 10 grand there. Avatar 3, good point. I forgot about the Avatar 3 as well. And the new Bambu. For those who haven't seen, Bambu are releasing, it seems, an update, and I genuinely don't know what this is, but they are hinting on an update, a refresh to what looks to be the P1S, P2S, I guess. I don't know. Is it a firmware update? Is it a printer update? I don't know exactly what this is, because this does look like the printer. So I'm not exactly sure what this is. But it's definitely P1S. This thing is a phenomenal printer. My P1S is over there. It doesn't get as much use now. I'll be honest, the H2D gets all the use now because that's a phenomenal printer as well. Yeah, I'm guessing it's a P2S. But looks very, very interesting. Very, very interesting indeed. I hope they keep the price point because the P1S was a no-brain recommendation. Lot of good reviews on the H2. The H2, the standard H2, a lot of people are liking the standard H2. For those who... I didn't really talk about this printer when it released. The H2S. Oh, sorry, the H2D. Not the H2D. Sorry, where is it? Yeah, the H2S. Sorry, my brain isn't working well today. The H2S. A lot of people are liking the H2S. It's still a high-end model, that's for sure. But a lot of people are liking the H2S. Definitely worth a look. Yeah, Simeon, I think the same. I don't know. Full colour screen? I don't know. I'm not convinced it needs a full colour screen. The P1S is still easy enough to use because I use it in Bambu Studio. Yeah, the H2S, a lot of people are liking the H2S. A lot of people liking the H2S. So, Hoverfish says Neo 2 and about to me no 5. No, there's no 05 around the corner. DJI won't be changing that for a while. Vortex, if it ever releases. It's the same as I'm getting a bit tired of how long some of this other stuff. Oh yeah, not Vortex. I'm on about Vortex will be interesting. I'm getting a bit tired of some of the stuff that never seems to be coming, like the multi-material stuff, multi-hot end stuff. We just don't seem to be seeing it. Yeah, I just print over Wi-Fi, so I'm not really worried about... A lot of people complain about the screen on the P1S, and I don't. I think it's fine. I need it for pressing start print, and that's it. There's a bunch of stuff that, you know, obviously the Snapmaker is due, which looks interesting for the price. I would have liked to have tried it. I did reach out to Snapmaker because I worked with them before. I had a bit of a funny ending to the relationship last time, just simply because of how difficult I found the product. A refresh of the P1S would be phenomenal. Most people don't need that size. But then again, and I still say it, it's hard for me to say you need a P1S when, if you go on the printers and you go on the A1 Mini, you can get this for 169 quid. There is nothing that comes close to this for this money. Honestly, this is just an absolute appliance. I'm not sure Snapmaker putting some pressure on anyone until the product's out and it lasts a year. Here's what we know about Bambu. Everyone said Bambu have copied everyone else, and then they proved they hadn't. It's not they're not using open source software. They went their own closed source hardware. Then everyone said they won't last. You won't be able to fix them when they break down. Bambu made all of the parts available on the website. Then everyone said you won't be doing this and you won't be doing that. And every time Bambu has proved wrong. Every single time Bambu was proved wrong. Their printers are smashing print farm use. The H2D wipes the floor with the XL. And I would love to try... I would genuinely love to try the XL. I had a back and forth conversation with Prusa's marketing people about trying to get an XL here, and they backed out in the end, and I found that interesting. And I tell you why I found it interesting, because they seemed afraid from... I just got the impression they were afraid of the way I did things on the channel. That's what I got the feeling of in the end. And it's a shame, because I would have loved to have tried it, because it's still the dream setup. Now, it does feel like Snapmaker are kicking Prusa's ass. How Snapmaker can deliver what they should have done, Prusa should have done already, I don't know. Prusa started with this. How they hadn't put that into a smaller platform like the Core 1, I don't know. How Prusa have got this wrong, I don't know. Do I think they have a monopoly? No, no one has a monopoly in 3D printing. There is absolutely not a monopoly in 3D printing. This is one industry where there is zero monopoly. There is this, the new kit is coming for tool changing. I find 90% of people want open source because it's popular to say, yeah, look, open source in 3D printing is fundamentally proof of why open source in many ways doesn't do what everyone thinks it does. So, for instance, pretty much all of the Chinese manufacturers, other than Bambu, are banging out printers based on Clipper free software. Most of them are in complete violation. Most of them offer nothing back to the core project at all. And most of them bang out products that never fully work. Anyone who's used the Crealities, anyone who has actually used these products properly know that all open source has done in 3D printing is allow a load of Chinese hardware manufacturers to bang out cheap hardware. Because they're not paying for software. Creality aren't paying for software. Snapmaker in the new printer aren't paying for software. None of these companies are actually developing. Prusa, at least, whilst they've still got their head up their arse using Marlin, at least they're developing it. At least they're doing something with it. No one else is really doing anything with it. Quiddy, all of the others, they're all just banging out printers based on Clipper, with a fluid interface, and it's all the same. At least Bambu are developing their own hardware and software. Brilliant. Prusa are doing some stuff. Prusa are putting, Prusa, at least Prusa do something with the software. Most 3D printers wouldn't exist without open source, agreed. The Chinese exploit, the hardware manufacturers exploited it to no end. Here's an upside and a downside. If we take the Snapmaker is based pretty much on stock Clipper. The U1. Pretty much stock Clipper, which is good, but it's not their software. At least for the users, hopefully it'll work. Now, this printer has the potential to do amazing things. Honestly, it has the potential to do amazing things. But it's got to be proven first. This has got... Let's look at how everything behaves in a year or two. Bambu would not be at this level without open source. Oh, I don't know. I'd argue that. DJI are where they are without open source. Don't remember who is behind Bambu. You can argue a lot of features wouldn't exist, but Bambu are not your typical company. No, they didn't bother with the slicer because they felt it was pointless. And that is a great use of open source because it didn't make sense. Big Panda is behind Bambu. I know who the man is behind Bambu. Yeah, in some luck. And it's just what frustrates me in the 3D printing space is very few do anything interesting with it. And so much so, a lot of these printers using open source software have then layered their own proprietary bits on top. So, as an example, I'm trying to remember what printer it is that is based on Clipper, but then they have proprietary modules. Oh, it's the Creality, isn't it? I think it's the K2. I think it's the K2. Has proprietary CAN bus modules that aren't open source. So it uses open source on one part of it, but not others. And there's a few printers doing this. The P2S is phenomenal printer. No one should ever be unhappy if you bought a P2S. It is amazing printer. This holds a lot of hope. For me, what this holds a lot of hope on is proper multicolor TPU. You know, you can do 2 colors. You can't do 2 colors on the H2D. You can do 1 color. You can modify your AMS to do 2 colors. But Bambu don't have a true 2-color solution yet, or multicolor solution yet. This is the true multi-material, and I'm not really interested in multi-material. I'm interested. I can do multi-material with 2 colors, 2 materials. What I need is multi-color. The changeover time from spool to spool is consuming. Yeah, I don't really worry about changeover time. Okay, if you're a print farm, yes, but I'm not a print farm. What printer did Bambu enter the market with? The X1. That was their Kickstarter, the X1. But look, this is potentially, you know, if you're a TPU guy, especially like a TPU print farm, this is now which could be something that really helps you, because if you're banging out lots of TPU stuff, you don't have to switch spools. You can do it for you, or you can do multicolor TPU prints. So this looks interesting. This will be, well, you know, I'm gonna. This is the first consumer multi-material printer, because I'm not sure we can argue the XL is consumer. It's a bit big. I have been looking at used ones to see if I can find one cheap. I don't know how many people are watching this stream, because YouTube have fucked up. Let me get onto the analytics. Hello, 275 views. Sorry, I can't see anymore because YouTube have completely screwed up the live view interface. I cannot believe they have done this. What has YouTube done to the live view interface? I just don't get it. I don't get it. But yeah, look, I have been looking to see if I could find any of these used ones. The enclosure is a mess on this. They need... I don't understand why they haven't reworked this yet. Do 04 Pro and 04 Lite use the same MIPI cables? Yes. I don't have any info. Bambu haven't told me anything. I tell you what, I do find a Bambu. They are amazing to work with, but they don't tell me a lot. So what I get is, I'm now and again, the rep will reach out and say, hey, do you want to look at this? In fact, most of the time, it's only been when I've gone, hey, this looks cool. They've gone, yeah, do you want us to send you one? They don't put any conditions. They just say, yeah, we'll go have a look at it. Tell us what you think. TPU is not okay with brake fluid, lol. But I don't have any info on it. But like, I'm shocked this hasn't been reworked yet. I'm just shocked this hasn't been reworked yet. Just... No, look, honestly, people say brands control things. Bambu was the #1 bit of fresh air when I first saw it. They just say, review it, don't review it. We're going to send it to you. Tell us what you think, or don't. Review it, don't review it. They didn't even require I made a video. That's the truth. They didn't even require we actually made a video. Do I ever do TPU? Yeah, I did do a joint on the test. I don't, to be honest, these days, so I print all of my TPU on the A1 Mini because it's permanently set up for TPU. It's just perfect. I just print TPU on the A1 Mini, and there's 4 spools in the H2D, and there's 3 spools in the X1, but the X1's turned off. My X1 did something odd the last time I used it. The bed heater tripped the electrics because it had been off for a while. So I had to use it on an external power supply and it was fine. I have seen people mention that because of the mains bed heater, mine did trip the electrics. But my X1 is turned off. At the moment, I'm just using the H2D for everything. It just prints everything so well. What's my favourite filament? PETG. Always has been. I love PETG. Like, I've been printing for years. Honestly, I had a print. When did I buy my first printer? I think I got spools of filament up there as old as my first printer. 14? And this is what I've been around so long enough that I appreciate how easy this is now. Because I used to sit there and spend hours trying to get bed level. And my first printer was a Flash Forge. And then I upgraded to a Flash Forge Creator Pro. Cool, what a printer that was. The good old Flash Forge Creator Pro is, I don't even think you can get it anymore. Images. For those who don't know what the Creator Pro was, here it was. Now mine was the early version of this. That didn't have the molded lid. Mine had the lid you had to screw together. One of my early printers. Dual hot end, which always collided. You ended up... Yeah, this is a later version. Is this actually still available to buy? No, I was going to say, you can't buy that anymore. But yes, the Flash Forge Creator Pro. Honestly. I had a Creator, then a Creator Pro. Printers have come a long way, I can promise you that. They really, really have. So, look, Bambu is set on Tuesday to announce that. And that's really all that's going on at the moment. Honestly, from an FPV perspective, things are quiet. Things are a little bit in the air. My plan this week, I've got a couple of videos that are going live this week. We've got the SpeedyBee video on the stack, which is an overview of version 5. The video is going to go live on the Hover Air, it's a review. I also have another drone coming into review, which is going to be quite interesting. Compared to the bed size of the H2D to P2S, size going from small to big. You want to... Oh, so look it up. Compared bed size of H2D to P1 bed size, going from small to big. Did it make you want to stay printing H2D larger anytime you could print compared to the smaller bed? I leave one printer powered up with what I need in it pretty much all of the time, and I when I do a review on a printer, I go through a set of tests like everyone does, right? We all use a set of test prints and stuff like that. But then I like to use it. You know, you can, and this is where I have to say the Bambus have been phenomenal. I've bagged up pretty much all of the printers other than the Bambus and boxed up because the Bambus are the ones that just work. That's the truth of it. The H2D is freaking massive. And it's too big for most people. You know, you're out of focus at the moment because we've got Tony 4.0 on. And I need to move that and that. But just, you know, that printer is freaking huge. It is too big for most people. Most people don't need that sheer size of printer. Genuinely, you don't. You just don't need it. It's a very, very big printer. But it's very, very good. If someone said to me, though, I want to buy a printer, what should you buy? And I was going to say, well, what do you intend to do? And you said little nicks and knacks and a bit of TPU, I'd get the A1 Mini. I am reluctant to recommend the A1 at the moment. The A1 is having a bit of a plague of electrical issues. There's a MOV melting out on the A1s. For those who haven't seen this, I mean, it seems to be a batch thing. People are finding like a melted hole into the bottom of their printer. And it's the mains input MOV that seems to be melting out underneath. I've not seen any fires, but people are reporting this. They're looking at their printer, or it dies, and they're finding this underneath. And there is an MOV on the mains input on the board. For those who don't know what an MOV is, it's basically a thermistor. It's an NTC is what an MOV is. So the idea is it's designed to reduce inrush current. So when you first turn on a piece of hardware, if you think about it, the MOV is cold. It's an NTC. So the lower the temperature, the higher the resistance. Okay? So the idea is when you power it on, the MOV's got high resistance, so the inrush current is restricted. The current just can't rush through. Then as the MOV warms up, the resistance drops and it allows more current through and it allows the device to start up. It's a cheap way in a power supply, and it's used in loads of stuff, of controlling inrush current. And it seems to be the A1 is getting this issue. You can see it there. You can see it's melted on the side. And there's some pictures then of the PCB I've seen. Yeah, and it seems to, like, it's... There's some people posting... where's his picture of his MOV? There it is. His is completely destroyed itself. So, look, some people are seeing this on their A1s. A1, not A1 Mini, correct. A1 Mini is fine. I've not seen a single report of this issue on the A1 Mini. The only thing we know is the A1. Yeah. Yeah, it's an MOV on the... And they're designed to run hot, but it seems like they're melting out or they're destroying themselves. You can see it there. Oh yeah, someone said about the new FlySky radio. We'll talk about that in a second. Resin is... I didn't get on with resin. A couple of companies have reached out to me a few times about reviewing resins, and I've turned them all down apart from one. One did reach out to me with what is said to be the best resin printer you can buy. And I was tempted on that because it has proprietary resin containers, which tries to make things a little tidier because it pumps the resin in and out. But they never ended up coming back to me at the end. It's amazing, actually, how many times I get companies reach out. I sort of talk a bit back and forth, and then they don't talk to me again. But it's usually... I'm quite clear on what I do. One of the big ones I get, and it annoys the shit out of me still now, is you'd be shocked how many companies go, we send you... And here's why you can't believe lots of reviews. If we send you this product, you need to review it within 2 weeks. What the fuck can you do in 2 weeks? Look, there are reviews I do in 2 weeks. There's some stuff I'll do in 2 weeks. But in genuinely, something like this you want to test, what can you do in 2 weeks? Resin is, it's not a job for in your house garage, or I would love to try good resin, but I would want a separate building to do it in, dedicated to its purpose, is what I would say. A separate shed in the garden. Honestly, you almost need a separate shed with workstations set up for it. The cleaning time is horrific. Because remember, you got to clean it, cure it, clean it, clean the cleaner, clean the resin, clean the bale. Resin is fine if you're doing it every day. That's the thing with resin. Yes, right. Someone has just mentioned to me about this new radio. There is a new even ventilation. You need somewhere to permanently set up. There is a new radio which is piquing a lot of people's interest from Fly Sky. Now, I need to find the pictures of this because it was posted on my Discord. I don't know if there's been... Painless has put a video out about this, has he? So Painless, Lee's got one. I didn't know this. There you go. The ProArt PA01. So Lee's got a video about it.
Welcome to the video. This is a quick look at the brand new radio that's been released today from Fly Sky.
So it's now out. Obviously, I didn't know about this. This is what happens when I've been ill all week. Obviously, please check out Lee's video on this. Oh, John, there you go. Well, I've missed a load then, haven't I? So, I don't have one, obviously. It definitely looks interesting. It's like a Pocket Max is the term I'd use. Very interesting indeed. Honestly, I don't know anything about it. So, yeah, it's more like a pocket, it looks to me. Does it take 18? I don't know anything. So does this thing take 18650s? Let's have a look, shall we? Okay, so the ProArt PA01. So, right, try that again. The ProArt PA01. Fly Sky's first gamepad style. So we've got a colour 2.4-inch IPS display. Very nice indeed. 4 customizable RGB buttons. Very nice. 3D mesh anti-slip grips. Multifunction USB ports, all in one. SIM compatible, which is always good. I bet he doesn't have YouTube Live issues. RGB color LEDs, because we like it. Yes. Don't know the power yet. So it's H7. ESP32, very nice. 500 milliwatts of RF power. Interchangeable firmware, so you can run it with EdgeTX or FlySky OS, or their AFHDS3 or Express ELRS. Rotatable, retractable antenna. Interesting. I like what I'm seeing. Stability, the soul of the controller. So we got a nano bay on the back. Good to see. What's this down here? Is that a DC power port? Quick release high precision Hall joysticks. Okay. Mini Halls, obviously. Metal scroll wheel, which is okay. Small hand, big hand. Built-in gyro. Okay, very much. You have to flash it yourself. I'm assuming, is this officially supported by the ExpressOS dev team? Captain Bry, one of you other smelly rats lurking around in the background, scrambling in the rubbish. Are you there? I'm waiting for one of them to reply. That's a nice looking radio. What's the price point? Is it on a, is this officially supported? And if so, what version is it? Will it have official support? That is my question. But will it get official support? Because if it doesn't get official support, you're there. Okay. Truth is, there isn't a great need to update ExpressOS these days. I'm not going to say you shouldn't, but... So, what's the price point? Does anyone know? Where can I buy one? Online shop. It's not listed on there. Oh, and Mantech have got it listed. Have they got it yet? Is it available anywhere yet? It's not even on Ali yet. Okay. It's pre-release. Do we know pricing? Has there been any confirmation on pricing? What's it going to cost? Feedback unit. So what are we saying? It isn't out yet. It isn't. Still pre-release. Frustrating. I wish they'd announce things like pricing. That's a nice looking radio though. Let's look, being honest here. Nice looking radio. Frustrating we don't have a price. It's hard, you know, I don't know how you can talk. They didn't ask me about this, so I wasn't involved. But if they had, it would have been hard for me to make a video without saying, hey, you're going to be able to buy it for this. You got to have a price. That's nonsense. You can't release a fucking product with all of this imagery and say, hey, no pricing. And I'm going to the KOLs. I'm on about FlySky. You know, come on, guys, you need a price. If you're releasing a radio, we need a price. 189. Okay, look. I think if you like the form factor, then that might be worth it for you. The antenna blocks the port USB trainer. Where did they show what was on the top? That's the DCS port. Suppose the antenna. What does it block when it rotates? It looks to the side. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen the LED go all the way around. I'll have to watch Lee's video and anyone else who's made one. Oh, that's bright. That is a nice looking radio, though. Oh, Radio Master, look at this. 18650s. I wonder what the power consumption's like on it. It should be alright. Price is 180 is 140 to 180. I think like 140 to get 140 to 180 is okay. It's small gimbals though, plastic. You know, it's tough. You know, okay. I think sub 150 is very interesting. Above 150 gets hard to make that work, in my opinion. Above 150, you're then into what are we talking here? What's a standard TX15? So a standard TX15 is 140. So, you know, that is essentially the same radio without the LEDs. Essentially, a TX15 is the same radio. Apart from its dual band. Yeah, it's not a touchscreen. Like the TX15 is it's hard. H7. It's essentially a similar radio, but again, this is dual system. Remember, this is the Semtech. Although it's worth saying, the Semtech system isn't really any more expensive to implement. It's just a choice between the two. So, yeah, I think, look, if you're going to come in over this price point, you're then in trouble. That's the problem. That's where it gets challenging. You know, that's the baseline. Because then you're into, you know, what's the pocket? 64 quid. Such a good radio for the money. Such a good radio for the money. Zorro's hard to recommend now. The Zorro desperately needs an update. That's a radio that needs an update. Yeah, and you got to take into account, look, it's Fly Sky, so they're putting out a different product. They might not even be able to price get near this. It's definitely a nice looking radio. It's definitely a nice looking radio. I like that. I like that indeed. H7 as well. Yeah, you're going to pay a bit more for LEDs, color screen, H7, Sajira SoC. It's going to be a more expensive radio to make. Look, I could just do, look, I think 120, 130, 140 is justifiable. Get up to TX15 money, it gets hard then. But genuinely does look an interesting radio. I like that. But switches wise along the top, I didn't see. What is there an... So what have we got on the switches and buttons? I haven't actually seen. Is it 2 3s? Is that a momentary or a latching on that far side? Anyone able to tell me? Oh, okay, so we've got wheels on the back as well. And then 2 buttons here. Okay, I like that. I like that. Is there a latching on both sides, or is one of them momentary? Everyone puts bloody momentary. I wish they wouldn't put momentary on. I really do wish they wouldn't put momentary on. I know it's for certain use, but here we go. Right, guys. I've gone later than I anticipated. I want to thank you for spending some time with me tonight. There's a few videos come up this week. Do me a favour, watch them. YouTube's bad at the moment. But yes, look after yourselves. Stay safe. We will be back again. My voice is starting to go now. Look after yourselves. Stay safe. We will be back again, same time, same place next week. Thank you all for spending some time, and I will speak to you soon.